Hey everyone, thanks for joining us, Tuatara Nation. Welcome to 2025. Had a bit of an idea, really keen to get our fans to sort of understand a little bit more around our thinking and what we're doing in the organisation. So came up with this initiative where we're going to allow our fans, our members, to ask questions of us. We might do something with Coach Cam, potentially even live in the next few weeks. So look forward to that. Just to start, my name's Dale Budge. I am the GM of the Auckland Tuatara. This is Connor Gibbs. He's our social media manager who's joining me, and he's got some questions that he's going to throw to me around free agency. So I'll hand it over to you, Connor. Hit me with your best stuff.
Brilliant. We'll start off with how's free agency going?
Good. Yeah, it's been a really interesting off season. This is my fourth season putting together a roster. Obviously, first time we've done it without Aaron Young as our head coach. Welcoming in Cam Glidden as the new head coach of the Tuatara for 2025. A couple of new assistant coaches too, Sione Mama and Justin Bailey. Those guys have been heavily involved in the planning right from the get-go. So, it's been a pretty successful one. We got the big targets that we identified right back at the very start when we assembled this coaching group and set about some plans. Really impressed with how realistic they are with the expectations, for guys that haven't sort of been in this role before, trying to put together a roster. You're obviously managing a hard salary cap, and you can't have every player that you desperately want. So they've been really realistic with that. I feel like I'm learning every year as well. There's been first couple of years we're in the role, every time you sort of missed a play, thought it was a fail. And so I tried to minimise that, but it sort of dawned on me that the old quote about, if you aim for the moon, you miss, you land amongst the stars and all that, or however it goes, you've got to have a crack at stuff. So we had a crack at some players that perhaps weren't quite as realistic based on what we'd already signed. So we missed some players this year, but I feel like we've had a really successful free agency to this point, and not too far away now from finalising that roster with a couple more imports to announce publicly.
Nice. Staying on that topic of the imports, when are we expecting you to announce those two other import signings?
Yeah, they'll probably be the next two players that we announce. So we have managed to sign them. The way the process works is obviously you negotiate once free agency opens with players and their agents. You can sign a contract. We actually had a signed contract with our first import from way back at the start of free agency. We've held it. When you submit it to the league for approval, the league checks it off, makes sure that everything lines up with the salary cap. And then once you have the league approval, there's 5 days. The clock starts ticking 5 days before you have to announce publicly. So we've got a couple of imports where we have signed contracts. They'll be submitted to the league. The league will make sure that everything's as it should be. And then once we have approval, they'll be announced. So expect that in the next week or two. Potentially one this week even.
Would Chris Johnson be an option as one of those imports?
Yeah, CJ obviously was here the first year that we operated, was a gun import for us, made that All-Star 5. We had a really good relationship with him, and we've maintained that. There were times when we thought we might be able to bring him back over the last couple of years. Unlikely he'll be back this year, just the way that our roster has been put together, obviously with Rob Lowe, the 2023 MVP, holding down the centre position. Tommy Bananovich, obviously another big that's already signed with us. And then we were able to acquire Dan Fotu as well, who'll be joining us mid-season. So to have that kind of portion of your cap spent on bigs probably didn't make a whole lot of sense to go back to the well with CJ, but we always keep in contact with him, and he's certainly someone that we wouldn't hesitate to look at bringing back in the future.
Nice. Is there any thought of bringing Corey Webster back?
Yeah, big thought. It won't be happening, unfortunately. So Corey was someone that, we were interested in bringing back. He had a magnificent season for us last year. Did everything we asked. People question, I guess, the age and the tread left on the tyres. Nothing that guy does would surprise me. He was outstanding for us. Played huge minutes. Played a facilitator role as well as a scoring role. We expressed an interest in him with his agent before Christmas, and we're told that he decided he's going to be playing elsewhere. I don't know for sure where that is. Obviously, you can draw some dots with his dad coaching at Manawatu, but I'm not sure if that's going to be the case or not. I guess we'll wait and see. But yeah, we were definitely interested in bringing him back, but not going to be something that's going to happen for us in 2025. Though, having said that, I wouldn't rule it out in the future again. He's a guy that could play many, many years yet. As I say, he's an exception to the rule as Corey, and we'd have no hesitation in bringing him back if he was available.
Nice. I guess staying on that topic of returning players from last year, is there a potential return for Ruben Tarangi?
Yeah, we love Rubes. Obviously, been Tall Black captain, been a great servant for us. At this stage, it's not looking likely. I won't say that I've entirely given up on the idea because he remains someone that we'd obviously love to have here. It'll come down to, I guess, a little bit of do we have the cap space for it? Will it work for Ruben? I think at the stage of his career, personal situation's got to be key for him. So. Became a dad a couple of years back now, and what he does with the family is going to be key for him. So at this stage, I don't think it's something that we're likely to see, but I haven't entirely given up on it. So if the stars align, we would absolutely love to have Rubes back.
Nice. I guess going a little bit away from specific names here, we've got a question about when you're recruiting, who takes more of a lead, yourself or Cam?
Oh, it's very much a collaboration. The coaches, ultimately it's the coaches' team. So they give us wish lists. They give me a wish list of players that they'd like to contract. And when I say Cam, it's the three of them too. Sione and JB have been heavily involved right from the get go on, and been, like I said, really realistic with what they think a roster could look like. So there's some initial discussion generally with the coaching staff. We're talking. Maybe not in person every day, but we're certainly in text conversation every day about potential recruits and where they're at and who's having an initial conversation. And ultimately, when it comes down to contracting and managing the cap, that's my responsibility. Do that in conjunction with Regan and Debbie a little bit. Regan obviously is our owner. Sort of bounce ideas off him and what he feels comfortable with. Just a sounding board really for me, but. Yeah, largely it's a combination. It's Cam's wish list along with his two assistants, and then me trying to make it work. And so far so good. It's been really harmonious. I think we've agreed on absolutely everything. And it takes a little bit of getting used to. Obviously, we had 3 years with Aaron, and Aaron did a great job over that time. He led the way. We were very new at this. We didn't sort of understand the landscape and the what players were worth, and so he took definitely the front seat in terms of recruiting in the first year, and then ultimately as I started to get a little more familiar with how things worked and what players were worth and get to know player agents and whatnot, started to have a little bit more involvement. But definitely collaboration to answer the question.
I guess sticking on the topic of Aaron Young, what are your thoughts on him taking over the head coach role at the Saints?
Interesting. It was, surprise for the organisation. I always had a sneaking suspicion that could happen at some point. Admittedly, I wasn't thinking it was going to happen in 2025, but good on him. We would have brought Aaron back if he wanted to have another season with us. There's no question around that. We made a pretty competitive offer to him. I think the expectation was that when he signed that 2-year deal and then agreed to terms with Perth, that would probably be it with us. Perth obviously at the time owned the same owners owned the Otago Nuggets, so we were half expecting that he was going to end up moving down there, given that arrangement. When he said that he wasn't going to come back, he told us at that stage there was no plans for anything else, and. So a little bit of a surprise, I guess, when it was announced that he was going to the Saints. But I know he's got a really good relationship with the owners down there and the GM, and obviously the Saints have been the team that's set the standard in this league throughout its duration. So no great surprise. It'll be a challenge. We're on good terms. There's no issues there, but it'll certainly be a rivalry that we cherish, and we'll be the younger brother looking to try and upstage the older one that's got the runs on the board at the moment.
Nice. I guess, again, sticking on the topic of other teams, what do you make of what they're doing, and who do you think is going to be your biggest challenge heading into the next season?
Oh, look, to be honest, it's probably still too early to really identify where every team's at, but every indication, I think the Saints are going to be a really, really good side. Isaiah Liafa, Hiram Harris returning, Plumtree's obviously a really good addition, given that he's an amateur player, doesn't hurt the salary cap. And then when you bring someone like Shea Ili into the mix, who's hands down one of the best players, if not the best player in the league, they're going to be very, very competitive. They've got some space to still add some other pieces. The Whisperers, they've got a pretty handy import centre coming. I'm sure they'll find some other players, value for money guys, they can put around that core. So, yeah, and they're obviously well coached with Aaron. So, look, I think they'll be a team to beat. The Rams, obviously, too, that pedigree. There's a reason why they've won 2 championships in a row now. They've got the nucleus of that roster back again with that core contingent from Christchurch. Again, still having Judd in the coaching mix, after getting appointed as Tall Blacks coach, continues to make them obviously a real contender. And I think we're obviously waiting to see what they do import-wise, but you'd be foolish to not think that they're going to be able to defend that crown. So I think those 2 teams to me are the standout at the moment. I think there'll be some interest in some of the other teams. Whispers are the Ears are going to be very competitive. I sort of like what I've seen or what I've heard behind closed doors there with what they're doing. The Bulls have been a regular playoff team the last couple of years. I have no reason to doubt that they won't be there or thereabouts again. They were very close to beating us in that semi-final last year and going to the big dance. So I definitely think Ears, Bulls, again, will be contenders. And then some of the teams that have improved, like I really like what the Fire are doing. Again, there's some announcements to come there, but I think they are going to be a team that takes a significant step forward this year. Haven't heard too much about Nelson and the Hawks, what they're doing, but shrewd operators running their organisations, really good coaches. I think, I'm sure they'll have little difficulty putting together competitive teams. So I imagine they'll be very much in the playoff mix. And then some of the teams at the bottom, I think, have been the big movers. So, I think if we're being brutally honest, both the Jets and the Sharks were really disappointing last year. They were a long way off the pace. That won't be the case in 2025. Both teams have, to their credit, identified some things that they can do better. And I think they are going to be both significantly better and really, really in the mix to win this thing. The Jets signing Tony Webster, and obviously that'll bring a number of quality players. Have already made some quality signings down there. If they can balance that, attracting players from the outside with growing what they do have, the young talent they do have in the region, they're going to be not only a force this year, but they're going to be a force in years to come too. So that's really exciting to see for the Jets. And then the Sharks too. Can't give too much away, but there's some whispers going around about what they might be doing. Obviously, bringing in a coach that has G League experience is going to bring some players with them. They've made some strides in the off season as well, and I think when all's said and done, if what we're hearing is true, you're going to see the Orange team right up the top of the ladder this time, fighting for a title, and that's exciting. So really looking forward to it. I think all teams, when you look at it, all teams are very much in the mix at this stage, and can't wait to get into it. We'll get a bit of a glimpse at the West Side Blitz in a few weeks' time, and then competition gets underway very shortly after that.
Wonderful. Well, that's all the questions we have. Thanks for your time, Dale. Is there anything you want to say before we sign it off there?
No, I'll just touch on a couple of players that we obviously we're keen to bring Corey back. That didn't quite work. There are a couple other players that are high-end players that we explored and didn't quite land. A couple of local players, so hasn't all been roses. We're disappointed to miss out on Tukaho Cooper, who I thought made some big strides last year. He's gone elsewhere, which is disappointing for us, but a great opportunity for him. And I think we've sort of taken that a little bit as a badge of honour that we've been able to give a guy an opportunity, and he was good enough to take it, and now he's set himself up for an opportunity for a bigger role, and that's exciting. So look forward to seeing the development of some of our younger guys. Already announced Dylan Wilkie, young player from the Shore that had an opportunity with the Bulls a few years back, been playing in Australia. I think he's going to play a significant role with us this year. Coaching staff really likes him. Josh Viley's been arguably the best player at our preseason trainings, and I think you're going to see him have a significant role this year, particularly with that Rapid League side, the Scott Broadband Rapid League team, and getting opportunities in the main game as well. And there's some other young players that yet to announce that we're pretty excited about. So, there's some imports to look forward to in the next couple of weeks, but also look out for some of that young talent. There's plenty of it coming through the Auckland ranks, and we're looking forward to seeing it in Navy and Teal this year.
Wonderful. Cheers, Dale.
Thanks, guys. We'll look forward to doing this more again with perhaps Coach Cam next time around.